Hey there, YouTube. This is True Outlaw Patriot back with another good tidbit by Representative Congresswoman Kat Kamick. You got to hear how she tortures this dude using some of their words. But truth of the matter is, I made a video about this, about all the missing migrant children. And here's some more information on what's going on. It goes to show you that the Democrats, and at this point, I'm sure that there's a few Republicans out there that are in on this, because in all honesty, I mean, every single Republican should be in an uproar, and in my opinion, every single Democrat should be in an uproar also. But we all know what's been going on with the left. They don't care about kids. That's just a fact. They say they do, but they don't. But anyway, listen to what's going on. Once again, like I said, I set this in a couple of videos ago about the 85,000 missing children. But here's some more information of what's going on with what the cartels are doing, and good old Biden administration, man, just letting those orders get filled up. Here we go.
Okay, Secretary Becerra, I want to start with your attention here on this jar. Do you see this? Do you know what this is?
Looks like candies or snacks.
Unfortunately, the reality is much more grim. These are wristbands that the cartels force people to wear when they cross the border. And if you're not wearing one and you cross the border, the cartels will take a limb or an appendage. This is what these people are forced to wear, and it dictates what cartel they belong to, how much they have paid. And they are absolutely a part of the horrors of trafficking and smuggling that occurs at our southwest border. And I have to point this out because I want to tell the journey, because this has really been laid out in bits and pieces along the way by my colleagues, and we're here to talk about these kids. So if you could turn your attention to the screen real fast, I want to show a quick photo that I took. It was 11:46 at night. I myself took this photo. That little girl that you see was acting terrified, not of the agents, not of myself, but of the man holding her. The very next day at the Donna Processing Facility, we threatened, and I was there to witness this man with a DNA test. He confessed that he actually was not her father, that he had rented her. This is a process called recycling. Now, I know we're here to talk about what happens to these kids after this point, but this little girl was then turned over to HHS custody, your custody. And you've talked at length today about the vetting process, right? And so you now know that this little girl, not through a DNA test, she's not related to that man. She now is in your custody. You have your own case managers who are supposed to vet these processes. And we, of course, know this from the Florida grand jury. These case managers have very little training or no training in.
You see? You hear that? Very little training and no training. They just get all these people to go and do this job, funded by taxpayer money, billions of dollars being funneled through to hire people to oversee what's going on, and yet no progress is being done. None being done whatsoever. And this is why people advocate for closing the borders and making it harder to get in and finding out who's who. And the Democrats know this, but they don't care. They just let the bodies come on in. You look at video of the border and different parts of the border, people coming in. I mean, literally, you go anywhere online and check it out, and it's just tens of thousands of men, women and children also, but definitely, if I had to guess, is 10-1 when it comes to the men coming over. Easily. And these are the people that we're supposed to let in without vetting them, that do not even care to go and grab a child that's not theirs, without even a moral fucking compass to think, oh, I'm gonna rent this child from a cartel or whoever it is, without even knowing what that child is going through. And I'm supposed to trust a man like that has no moral compass, no compassion, no passion in his heart, to look at this poor little child and say, you know what, I'm not doing this. I'm going to do it the right way. Now, I'm not saying it's all of them. Definitely not. I believe there's a lot of good people that are desperate, full of anxiety. They want a better life. But it's the ones that that do it this way that should not be allowed in this country. Because if they're willing to do that to one of their own, and when I mean of one of their own, like somebody within their own race, how much trust can a person like that be given to come into a country with people of another race or other races? We're supposed to trust people like that? We have our own homegrown criminals. The worst of the worst, rapists, thieves, murderers. We don't need any more coming in. But the Democratic Party doesn't give two flying fucks about this country or the people, and definitely they do not care about children. And the proof is in the pudding. Like I said before in my other video, they let illegal children come in. They know what's going on. They don't care. And then the children in our country, they want to force everybody to change their sexes at will. I'll keep saying it. I already got a nasty message on my last video about Epstein Island. And I replied back. You know why? Because there's no fucking hair on my tongue. You come into my arena, I'm going to fucking spit it out. Trust me. You can block me, do whatever you want. I don't care. You have your opinion, I have mine. There are over 8 billion people on this planet. And like there's over 8 billion assholes on this planet, that's 8 billion different opinions. I'm sorry that you don't look at things the way normal people with love in their heart, compassion in their heart have. But these are the people that you lefties voted for to let stuff like this happen. While they let the cities, people in the cities, kill each other, gangs and all that. They don't want peace at the border no more than they want you to have peace in your own neighborhood. But let's continue.
Interviewing these individuals, particularly children and young children who have been traumatized, you can imagine this man who you just saw on the screen, who, by the way, was a convicted sex offender with this.
Look at that, a convicted sex offender. I have family and friends that work in law enforcement, and I don't care, I'll say it. And let me tell you something, they apprehend a lot of people, a lot of illegal immigrants that are sex offenders. In their own, and they find out the information from in their own country. Thank God we have people on the front line that catch these fucking monsters. Unfortunately, sometimes they catch them after the fact when they commit a crime here. But they catch them, they do what they have to do, and send them back. Donald Trump was not lying when he said that a lot of these countries are opening up their prison cells and letting out all these fucking criminals, because I find it hard to believe that the majority of people coming from Mexico, from Venezuela, from Nicaragua, that they are living amongst a society of rapists and murderers and drug dealers. No, they're not. It's the prisons are being opened and they're letting these criminals out, and these criminals are making their way into our country. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're making it to other countries just in smaller numbers where they can be detected. People travel around the world, that's a fact. But in our country, this is supposed to be the land of the free. People are supposed to come here and thrive. And the sad part about it is, I've heard a few stories of a few people, illegal immigrants that have came here to have a better life, and then they wind up getting murdered or something. And they weren't even into the criminal element. They just, it's sad that they made it here. Matter of fact, there was one a story not too long ago, I believe. It was a guy from the Middle East. He came here, got a job, started doing the right thing, and Uh, I I may be wrong. I gotta look up the story again, but supposedly was killed. I think he was driving an Uber or something like that, and got into a confrontation with one of his passengers and was killed. And it's sad because all he was trying to do was start a new life. But the Democrats, they don't care about that. The bottom line is money, 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 power, and corruption. Again, this guy, and she says she was there when they took that picture. That guy was a convicted sex offender. And the Biden administration hires people that have no skills whatsoever to let people like that in. It's ridiculous and disgusting.
Child, you can imagine the trauma that that child could sustain. Your own case managers are not trained in examining, evaluating, or recognizing documents as authentic or fake. She came with no documents. They have no official training when it comes to trauma-informed interviewing skills. No official training when it comes to investigating the safety or legitimacy of addresses to which a UAC may be sent. Now, I don't know what happened to that little girl, but what I do know is that the sponsors that you claim to thoroughly vet, which I would love to get your definition of thorough, because you haven't been able to articulate that here today. It also would include the fact that these kids show up with numbers pinned to their clothes or Sharpied on their bodies to call. Agents have reported in official testimony that these kids have the numbers, the same phone number Sharpied on their arms time and time again. Now, we've heard, of course, of situations where the same sponsor is being called and magically 20, 30, 40 kids end up with that sponsor.
Now look at that. It's like I said, that they're filling in orders. You know, I am totally 100% against sponsors, all these religious organizations, and any organization that is for this, and especially the religious organizations, and I'll tell you why. They feel that what they're doing is a righteous deed. Listen, I understand you want to help people and that's your calling in life. I get it. We should all help each other. But these religious organizations that are letting these things happen, turning a blind eye because they think that they're doing a righteous deed, regardless of the chaos that's going on behind it, don't fool yourselves. By you doing these things and letting these criminals in and letting these children be treated the way they are, blood is on your hands. It doesn't matter what church you come from. It doesn't matter if you think, you know what, I'm doing this because I'm trying to save humanity, but for every action there's a reaction. The aftermath of what happens before, during, and after of you trying to basically help smuggle these people into this country. Every rape, every murder, every criminal act that the ones that you help that come in, not all of them, but the ones that you help come into this country and they commit those crimes, that blood is on your hands. So don't fool yourselves and think, well, I didn't know, and that's the thing. If you didn't know, yet you still did nothing to find out. And it's wrong on every fucking level. Every level. But keep fooling yourselves, people. Keep voting for the lefties and all you organizations, all you leftist organizations, all you religious organizations, okay, that are in on this and trying to bring people in, and you're smuggling them through as if they're slaves that are trying to get away from their slave masters. They're not. There's a lot of people coming here looking to make people slaves through sex and crime and drugs and gang affiliation and all that bullshit. You're not part of the solution. You're part of the problem, and you're part of the cause. You're causing more of the problem. You want to help them? You really want to help them? Get government grants to go to their country and help them, but you won't do that because you're afraid, because you know how messed up it is. But yet, it's okay to bring them here. Bring them into your homes if you trust them so much. Bring them around your children. But you won't do that because you know that you're running the risk. But yet you let everybody else deal with that. Open your eyes, people. Open your eyes to what's going on. And it's getting worse. The Democrats have been letting people pour in by the hundreds of thousands, by the millions. They are trying to turn this country around. And if it continues, people will be leaving here. People born and raised here will be leaving. And then there will be no America. But that's what the powers that be, the corrupt, that's what they want. They want to destroy this country. They want to destroy it. And I tell you what, look it up for yourself. I'll just let you know. A very famous person said, this country will not be destroyed from the outside. It will be destroyed from the inside. Look up that quote. You'll be surprised what you find. But let's continue.
And again, I go back to your statement of we thoroughly vet. You've really emphasized that. Do you vet every member of the household? And does it include an FBI check? Does it include an Interpol check? I would hope that it would, considering that we've had 151 different nationalities cross the southwest border under the Biden administration. But I'm guessing that it doesn't, because only 9% of the UACs are subjected to a DNA test with their sponsor, less than 23% to a background check. And again, I should point out for the record the fact that you release these folks, these kids, to sponsors that are in the country illegally.
And there you go. Keeping that gravy train going. And I always wanted to say this. Now that I'm trying to start this platform, I want to give a warning to the Latino community. You know, I won't say from my own personal view what happened to me. But let's just put it this way. You know, more Latinos should be against the illegal immigration. And I'll tell you why. Even though Congressman Kamek said that there's 151 different nationalities coming in, the majority of these nationalities speak Spanish. These illegals that are coming in, they borrow themselves into Spanish communities. They steal Latin identities. They don't steal an Irish identity, a Patrick O'Malley. They don't steal a African American's identity or a Chinese identity. No, they steal an identity that has a Latino last name, first and last name, Rodriguez, Perez, whatever you call, you know, whatever you go by. So when you get that knock on your door, like I did, facts, where they thought that I was somebody that crossed the border because my identity was stolen, you'll understand what's going on. So I encourage the Latino community for them to really open up their eyes and say, wait a minute, you know, they're coming here, they're, you know, coming into our communities, they're settling in our communities because they speak Spanish and they're hiding out. And then they're stealing identities. And no, this is not bullshit. It's not. And this is not something that's been, you know, they just started. This has been going on for years, because what happened to me nearly 15 years ago. So I'll give that much information about myself. But the thing about it is that nobody sees that this way. Even black people that come crossing the border that are coming from African nations, they're still not going to steal identities from African American people. So people need to wake up and find out what's really going on in your community. I mean, I have seen an influx. In the past 3 years, I've been in 2 different states, and I have seen an influx of illegal immigrant men coming in to the neighborhoods, panhandling. Men. Once in a blue, a couple of women with children, but mostly men looking for work, panhandling. They're taking work from us. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, everybody needs a new start in life. There's plenty of them that are truly good-hearted people they want. But you know what? Do it the right way. Do it the right way. Because like I said, people, if we let this continue, we're not going to have a country. And this is not fear-mongering. This is not QAnon talk. This is straight facts. It's not bullshit. It is straight facts. But let's continue.
By definition, they have already broken the law. Is it a standard operating policy to release children into the hands of sponsors in households that haven't been properly vetted and that are here in the country illegally?
I think I heard a question there, and so I'll try to respond because you packed a lot in there, a lot which I think has a lot of misinformation and that I disagree with. I could first start by saying that we do go through a thorough process on assessment of the child when the child first comes to our attention. So that
What
little
is your
girl,
I'm sorry, I'm going to reclaim my time. Secretary, what is your definition of thorough?
I mentioned it in a previous
Does it include
response.
a DNA test?
An assessment of the child's
No, that is not my
situation.
question. My question is, does it include a DNA test? Yes or no?
DNA is one of the tools that we use on occasion.
In only 9% of the cases. Does it
It is
include a
tool that
background
we
check?
use. We do a number of things.
9%. So that means 9 out of every 100 people that come in with children, they do a DNA test. That's less than 10%. And then they'll come out and say, well, we can't do it on all because there's so many. Oh, I mean, yeah, that's right. Because there's so many coming in. And you're letting them in. That's the problem. But that's what they want. That's what they want.
Things to go through a series of tests and assessments of a child when we get them. We do
And a
the same
background
type
check
of
in only 23% of the cases. And the DNA, by the way, that you rely on in your ORR case managers, if you could please pull up Exhibit 2. This shows that the DNA requirements that you rely on in the case files, I realize this is a CBP document, but this memo is something that is really important for what we're talking about, because so much of the case files that your case managers rely on in vetting these thorough checks, they've suspended the DNA requirement. I'm out of time. I know you want to answer the question anyway and deviate from your carefully crafted talking points, but I think this is disgusting that 85,000 children are missing and it's on your watch. With that, I yield.
And there you go. It's on their watch. The blood, the crime, everything. It's on the Democrats' watch. They don't care. They don't. They don't care anymore about those kids that they have no idea of, that are not even American born. They don't care about them any more than they care about American kids that they're trying to poison their minds with what's going on right now. You know, this is why I keep putting these videos out, and I keep telling people, you know, speak up, stand out, don't be afraid. If not for your kids, do it for the other kids. If not for those kids, do it for your kids. But damn it, you know, these Democrats, this administration has hired some of the most wicked goblins that anybody could ever think of, because, you know, when it comes to Mayorkas and it comes to this guy Barrera, I think his name was, and, you know, it comes to whoever else that they're hiring, because I mean, it just seems like every single one has their thumb, you know, up their ass, and one thumb up their ass and the other, you know, and while the other hand is in the cookie jar. And it just makes you wonder, like, seriously, like, all this information is there. You ask for billions of dollars for all these resources, and yet You've done nothing to not slow it down, to stop it. To just stop it. And start anew. But no. And then they come in front of Congress and they just have excuse after excuse after excuse. There should be no fucking excuse. Especially when it comes to kids. It doesn't matter if they live 10,000 miles away on the other side of the planet, or they live 10 minutes from your house, or 10 feet from next door to you. There should be no excuse for any child to be put in danger and in harm's way. Anyway, I hope you like what I put out. Again, please comment, thumbs up, subscribe. And as always, stay vigilant, keep praying, and pray for each other. Peace.